In this tutorial, I explain how to post material to a cassette. Corresponding rights are required to book material. More on this in another tutorial. Material can only be booked if they have been created beforehand. I explained how to do that in another tutorial. To book material, we stay in the tower view. Here we see our tower. He only has 4 places in this tutorial. All cassettes that are in the round are displayed on the right. The software recognizes where cassettes are located through the RFID transponders in the cassettes. Therefore, you should always refresh the view before you start. We do that down here. Now we see that the MF004 cassette is not in the tower. In our example, we have material for medium format cassettes. In order to book material, we need an empty cassette that fits the size of the material. In this tower, there are only medium format cassettes, which we recognize by the designation MF. We can see from the light blue color that 3 cassettes are empty. The MF002 cassette has already stored material, so it is darker in color. We can take any empty cassette, but if you want a specific one and it's in the tower, you can search for it too. That makes sense with a large tower with many cassettes. We therefore enter the full name of the cassette here and press the magnifying glass. Then we can easily find the cassette we are looking for in the tower. So that we can find the physical cassette faster, we turn on the LED. The LEDs are represented by the gray rectangles in the right of the cassette. With a double click, we can turn them on and off. With a right click, we open a cassette. It does not matter whether the cassette is in the tower or in the round. This is our empty cassette. If other columns are visible to you, you can adjust them at any time as you need them. Then you should save the settings here. To book material from the master data, we can either work with a navigation bar or use keyboard shortcuts. First, I'll show you how to use the navigation bar. For this, we click on the plus and then on the column name Material Number. A window then opens with a summary of the master data that has been created. Here we select our desired material and press the green button. Then we are asked how many pieces we want to store. After the input, we press the green button again. And finally, the weight calculation window appears. Here you can see the material above and the format of the cassette. The dimensions of the material are not taken from the material master, but always correspond to the dimensions of the cassette used. This allows to easily place the same material with different dimensions on a different format. For example, if we choose the small format, the dimensions and the calculated weight of the material change. Since we have already entered everything in the master data, we press the green button and confirm everything. Now I'll show you the faster way with the help of the keyboard. We have an empty cassette and press F3 on the keyboard. The window with the master data opens. We select the material and press F2. Then we enter the number of pieces and press F2 again. Since everything is entered correctly here, we press F2 again. We're done already. If we want to open the window for weight calculation again, let's press this button or the tab key on the keyboard. This function is only available if the unit of the material is set to kilogram or square meter. If we want to change any other details, we can do that here. Only the yellow fields can be changed. The gray fields are calculated information or were taken from the master data and can no longer be changed. We can enter an order number in the commission column. We can change the number of pieces in the pieces column. The weight on the cassette is then recalculated. We can freely enter comments in the Field 1 and Field 2 columns. The maximum length is 15 characters. Then we apply the changes. If we have stored something that protrudes beyond the cassette, we have to enter the vertical exaggeration here. Although this is not the case with this material, we enter 100 mm for demonstration purposes. Now we have booked material on a cassette and can close this window. We do this either with the F2 key or by pressing the green button. Since we entered a vertical exaggeration, on the one hand, we see this black arrow and that the compartment above is also occupied. If we take the vertical exaggeration out again, it looks like this. If we want to take something from a cassette, we open the cassette again, go to the Pieces column, change the value and accept it. Now we have booked 10 pieces. It can happen that the remnant piece is left over and has to be stored back. For this, we create a new dataset. Open the master data, select the material and enter number 1. Now we select Special and enter the dimensions of the remnant piece. Then we press the green button. So we created a remnant piece. We can make this a little easier too, but the number of pieces is automatically reduced by 1. To do this, we right-click on the material and select Create Remnant. Then we enter the dimensions of the remaining piece and take it over. Now we can see the number of pieces has decreased and that we also have a remnant piece. If everything has physically been removed from the cassette, we simply click on minus and delete the positions. And now we have an empty cassette again. That was all about Book On and From Cassette.